Love is a strange addiction, the kind that doesn't show up on medical reports, but lives quietly inside your chest, changing the way you breathe, the way you think, the way you see yourself. And this story begins on a day that felt like every other day, except you didn't know your whole world was about to shift. You didn't know that one person could walk into your life and make your heartbeat feel like a habit you couldn't break. Because addiction never starts loud. It starts small, subtle, harmless, like a spark you don't notice until it has already become a fire. And that's exactly how it happened when you met them. Someone who didn't look extraordinary at first, but made you feel something you hadn't felt in years. Seen, heard, valued, understood in ways you didn't even know you needed. And slowly, without warning, you started depending on the way they made you feel. The comfort in their voice, the softness in their presence, the warmth in their attention. And even though you told yourself you were fine, deep inside you knew you were falling into something deeper than love. Something that felt like a quiet dependency, something that felt like survival. Because before they came, you were carrying wounds you never spoke about. The kind that hide behind forced smiles and late-night overthinking. The kind that make you believe you're too much and not enough at the same time. But they made you feel lighter, made the world feel less heavy, made you believe life could be soft again. And that belief alone became your escape, your comfort, your addiction. And you didn't realize how deeply you were sinking until you started needing their messages to feel calm, their attention to feel worthy, their presence to feel alive. And that's when the addiction tightened its grip, because the moment someone becomes your source of peace, they also become your biggest fear of loss. And you didn't notice when your happiness started depending on their mood, their replies, their affection, their validation, because addiction grows silently in the spaces where you feel safest. But slowly things changed, not all at once, but in tiny ways that hurt more because they were almost invisible. The delayed replies, the smaller conversations, the shorter calls, the reduced effort, the colder tone. And each change felt like a withdrawal symptom, like someone quietly unplugging your oxygen. And instead of letting go, you held on tighter, because when love becomes an addiction, losing it feels like dying. And you told yourself you were overthinking, that they were just busy, that it was temporary, that they still cared, that you still mattered. But deep down you knew you were fighting alone, giving alone, loving alone, trying alone, because addiction teaches you to justify pain as long as it comes from the person you crave. And the worst part is you didn't blame them, you blamed yourself, thinking maybe you weren't enough, maybe you were too emotional, too sensitive, too clingy, too broken. But none of that was true. You were simply addicted to the version of them that made you feel alive, addicted to the moments that felt unforgettable, addicted to the softness that didn't last, addicted to the idea of what you hoped they could be, not what they actually were. And when someone becomes your emotional drug, you don't see the toxicity, you only see relief, comfort, escape. And that's why it took you so long to realize you were losing yourself while trying to keep them, shrinking your needs, hiding your pain, accepting less, giving more, bending until you broke, because addiction convinces you that suffering is still better than losing them completely. But one day something changes, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a soft ache turning into truth. When you wake up and finally see the weight of everything you've been carrying, the unanswered messages, the efforts that never came back, the nights you cried alone, the days you pretended to be fine, the pieces of yourself you gave away, hoping they'd give you something real. And suddenly, in that painful moment of clarity, you realize they didn't save you. Your love for them only distracted you from healing, and the addiction you thought was love was actually loneliness disguised as attachment, longing disguised as connection, hope disguised as devotion, and the pain you blamed yourself for wasn't your fault. It was the cost of loving someone who didn't know how to love you back. And in that moment, you understand something powerful. You weren't addicted to them. You were addicted to the feeling of being chosen, the feeling of being seen, the version of yourself you felt you could be. And once you understand the truth, the healing begins. Not quickly, not perfectly, but slowly, like learning to breathe again, learning to trust again, learning to feel whole again without needing anyone to complete you. And you start rebuilding yourself piece by piece, learning that real love doesn't feel like withdrawal, doesn't feel like fear, doesn't feel like begging for attention, doesn't feel like losing yourself to keep someone else. And for the first time in a long time, you begin to choose yourself. You begin noticing red flags instead of painting them white, setting boundaries instead of breaking them, valuing your peace over temporary affection, understanding that love shouldn't hurt more than it heals. And with every step, the addiction weakens, the attachment loosens, the longing fades. And one day you wake up and realize you're no longer waiting for their message, no longer replaying old memories, no longer craving what broke you, because healing has taken the place of obsession, clarity has taken the place of confusion, strength has taken the place of fear, and your heart finally whispers, "I deserve better." And this time you truly believe it, because you do, you always did. You just needed the pain to remind you that you were never meant to live addicted to someone who treated your love like an option. And now that you've healed, you finally understand the truth about love. It's not supposed to feel like a drug, not supposed to make you lose yourself, not supposed to depend on someone who doesn't choose you, because real love isn't an addiction, it's freedom. And when the right person comes, you won't feel anxious, you won't feel scared, you won't feel insecure, you won't feel like you're fighting alone, because real love feels like peace, not withdrawal. And that's how you finally break the addiction called love.